Okay. I'm going to go through the basic survivors right now for you. The main basic point to understand is survivors add to your fortitude, offense, resistance and tech stats. I'll explain what adds to what in a moment, but what you need to know in very simple terms is whatever your base health, damage, shield strength and ability damage is, it gets a multiplier based on your fortitude, offense, resistance and tech score respectively. So fortitude for health, offense for damage, resistance for shields and tech for ability damage. Resistance and fortitude also improve your regeneration rate for health and shield respectively. The bonus you get is 1% of your base amount per point. So if you've got 500 points of offense, you'll do 6 times base damage. I mean, let me jump over to the army and show you one of my schematics briefly as a quick example. My Dragon's Roar. It's sort of my go-to default gun. At the moment, it does 207.5 damage. That's obviously been improved by leveling the weapon, but I've also, for the purposes of doing this tutorial, stripped all my survivors, so I do not have a significant amount of offense at the moment. That does not mean I have no offense. Because of skill nodes like this, and this, and this, and this, you get offense, fortitude, resistance, tech, etc. added from those. In addition, were I in a mission, people who have unlocked or acquired other sources of party resistance, fortitude, tech and offense will be providing me with a permanent passive bonus. For that matter, I believe I would also receive my own passive bonus. As a result, despite what the squad sheet screen shows, my fortitude, offense, resistance and tech are not in fact zeroed. You can tell actually because I've got this up here, the power level, in the top left corner where it says 18, that's my power level. If you go over to the Heroes tab, you can see your actual fortitude, offense, resistance and tech scores. As you can see, thanks to research nodes and skill trees, because research obviously also has these as well, thanks to those, I have 105 fortitude, 125 offense, etc. I also have 19 party of each of those. Now let's look in at the survivors. The thing to understand is each of these boxes, as it were, is a group of survivors. All the survivors in that box, well, I'll explain why they're in boxes specifically in a moment, but basically any survivor slot in a particular box will provide a certain amount of a particular stat. They'll provide a large amount of straight stat to you and a small amount of party stat. As you can see, EMT squad is fortitude, fire team alpha is offense, gadgeteers are resistance, corps of engineering is tech, training team is fortitude, close assault squad is offense, scouting party is resistance, and think tank is tech. You will see a lot of advice that says you should not invest survivor XP, I'll explain what that does in a moment, into fortitude and resistance, and that you should avoid picking up research nodes with it. It's certainly preferable to raise your offense and tech first, but do not skimp on the fortitude and resistance completely. And you should never be at the point where you've got heavily leveled survivors in your offense and tech slots and completely unleveled survivors in your fortitude and resistance slots. And there's a reason for that. If you get a team that can in fact find its backside with without the need of both hands, a map, flashlight, written instructions, a casualty department full of EMTs, with a surgery room on emergency standby, you probably know no single player's going to come under a lot of attack, and you'll get enough fortitude and resistance from those players' party level bonuses to get by. You don't need the ability to take a hit. The problem is, you get a heck of a lot of teams that have outright leeches in them people who go AFK who just aren't very good at the game, and as a result they cannot, in fact, find their backside without both hands, a map, flashlight, written instructions, a casualty department full of EMTs with a surgery on emergency standby. And in that situation you're going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting. You are going to have to carry the team to some degree. And when that happens, you tend to take the lion's share of the damage at that point. And when you start getting that kind of focus effect, particularly in destroy the encampment missions and save the survivor missions, it can become a problem to have low fortitude and low resistance, because you just can't take the beatings you need to take to get through. But that doesn't mean offense and tech aren't generally more important. Just don't completely neglect your fortitude and resistance, despite what some guides will tell you. Now, each team, you'll see, has a symbol at the top, and it says leader match there. The leader slot is this first slot. You can only put lead survivors in, but there's absolutely nothing stopping you putting any lead survivor you want in. For example, I could put Amy Eagle Deerheart, who's an explorer match, but I can put her in the EMT squad. But if I put him in, I get more stat. The number you see here next to their symbol, that's how much of the stat given of that particular stat they will provide if you slot them. So he provides 126 fortitude, and as you can see, he also provides 44 party-wide fortitude. I suspect, after doing a quick piece of maths, that means the party share benefit is 20% of the self-only benefit. Note, remember, this number does not include... Oh wait, yes it does. That does include the 19 base. I tell a lie. I apologise. So, let me rerun that math. Yes, 20%. It still comes out at 20%. I do apologise. That's one thing I wasn't sure on, so I just thought to run the maths for you. Now, there's another aspect to lead survivors. Lead survivors have a personality. You can see that here. Or, if I just briefly go to the armory and pull up all my survivors, you can see it here. Personality, and you can see the set bonus. There's a wide range. Trap damage, range damage, trap durability, ability damage. Is there any others? Let me just do a check. I haven't got a complete list to hand, you see. Right. Yes, that's all the types. You can also get shield and health bonuses, melee damage bonuses, regen bonuses, and I think, but don't quote me on this, I'd have to dig it up and check, energy regen bonuses. I don't have any of those survivors. The thing is, right now, melee is not in a good place. I'm not saying melee is outright terrible and you should never use it, etc, 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 but it's not a viable main weapon in the majority of cases. There are a couple of heroes out there that can make it work, but outside of those, it's in a very poor state as of the time of recording this. I'm used to writing long form posts rather than doing videos on things. I do apologise. Which is the 25th of July 2018. Hopefully this should go up on YouTube the same day, but we will see. Now, as I was saying, you can see the bonuses. And as I say, there's some additional bonuses that I don't have any of. I've got rid of those simply because, like I said, having some health and some shields is useful if you have to carry. But it's not so useful you want to dedicate set bonuses to it. Realistically, it just isn't worth it. That said, it's also important to be aware, and I'll just show you when we go back in a second, that different bonuses require a different number of matching survivors. Now, when you come to slot a survivor into the squad member slot, What you want is a personality match with the leader, because they get a bonus to the amount of stat they provide if you do that. As you can see, that's a level 1 survivor with no bonus, with no. That's a level 1 with no match. Only provides 13. Go to... Give me a second, I've got to find one. Yeah, he provides 13, but if you've got a personality match like this gentleman, he provides 23. I'm not sure exactly what the multiplier is. It's definitely not a straight doubling, but it's very close to doubling the amount provided. Hang on a minute, 23, 42. Ah, I think I know what's happening. Oh wait, no. No, I don't. 10, 42, 32. Yes, it's a additional 10-point bonus for matching it. Now that might not look much, especially with a very high level survivor. You can see there, even though he's not matching, because he's all the way up at level 20, he provides slightly more than a match. But, it's very, very important to understand that every bit helps. You want to maximize the amount you get. And in this case, the reason he's higher level is simply because he's from a different survivor squad. I stripped all my survivors out, so even though I could put him in and get more, it makes more sense to use him in a different squad with another matching leader and get the 10-point bonus on him. And use this guy and get a 10-point bonus on him and just level him up.
Teamwork!
Yes, they make funny noises like that. Now as you can see, he has a range damage bonus. It's now showing me additional matching survivors with the same bonus. As it happens, the way I'm doing this, I'm probably not going to end up slotting exactly the same survivors the second time around. But you can see, range damage, you need 3 matching survivors with it to cause it to kick
Teamwork.
in. So... and her.
All for one.
One thing to bear in mind though, these other slots are unlocked by a combination of skill trees and research trees. Now, the thing to remember is you've got 7 slots. So if you put 2 type set bonuses in that require 3, you're going to have a spare left over. But if you put 1 3 and 2 2-1s, you can fill all of them with set bonuses. So it's far more efficient to do that. I'm now going to just keep slotting survivors, basically.
Good team. We're in it together.
So, even though I'd like to slot him, I can't really just... Let me have a look, see. Yeah, it makes more sense to slot those 2.
What a team.
And then slot him. No, not him. Ah, you can see here, trap durability bonus, that's a 2-pointer. So, I will slot her in on the end.
Best team ever.
And I'm just going to continue through, slotting them as I go.
We'll get it done.
All for one.
We're in it together.
Team bonus. Best team ever. Best team ever.
Good team. Good team.
Best team ever.
As you can tell, I'm gonna have to do some re-leveling of survivors now I'm doing this. Because I'm basically changing them out. Because I'm not getting them all back in the same place as they were before, so not everybody matches up cleanly.
We're in it together.
All for one.
We're in it together.
I'll have to find another one of them to go in here later. I mean, obviously when you're slotting your survivors, or reordering your survivors, you won't end up with the same problem I'm having here, where...
Good team. Good team.
Because I'm basically having to redo it from scratch, I'm not getting everything back quite where it was. I've got slightly different...
We'll get it done.
Things slotted.
Teamwork.
But that explains the basics of getting the most out of the survivors you have, basically. But I mean, by reordering these, what I'll end up doing long term, because I've slotted more of my legendary survivors now, is I'll raise the total I can get out of my survivors in terms of bonuses to my stats. Some of these have gone up quite a bit. The other thing to understand is leveling survivors and lead survivors is what gets you more upgrade inspect. I can't actually level him, but you can see there his power level 20 now, so his base power he provides is 20 points. If I was to add a level, because I don't have the XP to do it, I can't show you. Are these cheaper to level? Yes, they are. There, you can see she went from 15 to 16. So she now provides 1 extra power. And as I level her, that will continue. As you can see here, level 10, but non-evolved, 35. Now, there's a couple of additional points to make that I only recently discovered. I'm still in the process of fixing, basically. And that is evolving the survivors adds more than leveling another survivor by 10 levels. So before I upgrade anyone else in this, before I've actually finished leveling these two, I want to evolve her, because that will give me an additional 8 stat points from her, but cost a lot less experience than leveling these all the way. By the same token, because lead survivors give so many stat points, such massive amounts, it's far, far more worthwhile to level these as far as you can before you level these. He's a recent acquisition, so I haven't had time to finish leveling him, basically. And that's basically the basics of survivors. I mean, at this point I've slightly gummed it up because it looks like I've ended up with more of my better survivors in resistance and tech. Once I finish leveling my offense one will get back to where it was, which was the highest stat, because I've actually got an extra slot unlocked in there. If you look, you can see I've got 4 slots unlocked in Fireteam Alpha, but only 3 in everybody else. That's because I've already filled out Research Level 2, and I'm working on Research Level 3. I've kind of stalled a bit though, because I'm in the process of doing a lot of converting of schematics to XP. Anyway, I hope all of that helped, and catch you whenever.